Well, here we are, the runner-up of the voting. So I gave you the choice of a couple of pieces, 4 pieces from the grade 3 parcel that I got from 53 Frogs and NN Opals. And this was the runner-up. So it's a really big, thick boy. So thick piece of crystal opal. You can see how clear it is. You can see that backing very easily when I remove my finger. So this could make a terrific doublet if this inclusion gives us a little bit of trouble. Well, if this crust goes a bit deeper than we thought in the center. Hopefully it doesn't. If it doesn't, we're going to get this nice, thick 3.5, 4 mil cabochon of brilliant blue Cooper blue, slight tinge of green, so that turquoisey colour. Mainly a blue-purple though. And yeah, it could be an incredible piece, but the thing with crystal opal is that any small crack, any small imperfection with something this clean and clear, you're going to see it stand out huge. And if we go around the piece and I remove my finger, you can see here there are a couple areas that are concerning me. So just over here there's some crackage that looks like it's going in pretty deep. There is this weird cut in here which hopefully is nothing. But if I hold it right at the right angle, you can see over there, there's a bit of an inclusion over there, or it's a crack. Looks kind of like a tornado in the piece. There's a little bit of sand over here, which hopefully just is on the surface and doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, all in all, there's a little bit of sand kind of bleeding in from this outer crust. So we've just got to hope that this outer crust isn't more than 2 mils thick. This side seems a little bit better, so there's not a lot of crust on there. We should be okay. There's a bit of a chip out here. The shape in general is a bit unusual. So we'll have to probably shape it into I can see an oval fitting in there if we want to go for a really boring shape, but we'll let the opal do the talking, and if it pushes us into a weird shape, I'm just going to go with it. But if I can get away with just a conventional shape, it'll probably just be an oval. Oval of some sort. I do need some ovals to play around with some wire wrapping and stuff, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get a boring shape for once. Not a huge fan of boring shapes, but every now and then they are really decent, and people do prefer them if you're selling stuff. If you're just hoarding it, then it's whatever your shape. Whatever the shape you like is the best shape. So yeah, that over there is scaring me. But we can only find out how good this piece is by giving it a crack, so let's get into it. We're back. Diamond Tips have had a fair workout on this. This material is really tough. That crust was really hard. So probably even harder than the actual precious opal itself. Some random dog next door. Yeah, so we've given it a good crack. I'm pulling up just short as per usual with the diamond bit because the cutting marks it leaves are way too severe. So you can still see that there's these light inclusions in the surface. It's still a little bit frosty. But all in all, it's a fairly clean piece if I just remove my fingers from behind it. I'm still very concerned about some of these cracks I'm seeing running through the piece. I think there's going to be some areas that might have to get cut out. But for now, if I can get that nice light blue colour all the way across the top surface, I'll be quite happy. And then the other side seems to be a darker blue kind of surface. There's that big cluster of cracks there that I'm worried about. Stemming from that solid hit that it took at some point in its life. Poor thing. But all in all, this one's still fairly foggy. It's actually drying up. So yeah, there's still a bit of inclusion work to go. There's this annoying chip out of the top here that I tried to kind of even out because I'm wanting this to be the top surface. I like that light blue more than the dark. But if I can get a nice shaped crystal out of this square end is also a little bit annoying. So it's going to have to get tapered off a little bit and we'll go for a nice, it's going to be fairly oval, but maybe not a perfect oval. I don't know, depends on how I feel. There's just a few lines and cracks that I'm really concerned about, especially over this side. And that cluster just in there, you can see it, it's like a window in there. Apparently birds are having a fight outside my roller door. So yeah, that hit there has really done a number on this piece. Which is unfortunate, but worst case scenario, that disappears and we still end up with a nice stone up here. So yeah, we're just gonna keep on going with it, get the Nova tips out. There'll be a lot of work to be done with the black, and then the rest should be smooth sailing from there if we've got a nice piece on our hands. So we'll dive back in. Now I'll admit that I'm not the biggest fan of crystal opal. I think my ordering would go probably boulder opal, black opal, Andamuka matrix, and then maybe crystal opal after that. So I'm not a huge fan, but this material might make me change my mind and change the ordering. So that's it from a distance. And it does have some issues that I'll go into, but from a distance, I mean, you can almost not even see the issues that I've got under a bright enough light, because it really, even though it is crystal, you really don't see through it because the colour is showing up so strong. But we'll get it out. So there we go. I'm keeping my fingers away from the back on purpose just to show you how clear it is. And this is kind of like the worst way to set your crystal opal. It shows its vulnerabilities a lot more when there's a white backing behind it. Whereas if I do that, it starts darkening it and pops out the colour a little bit more. But look at that. Look at the colour in that. It's not overly directional. It's kind of greener on this side, but bluer if you straighten it up. If I put something black behind it, I don't know, I don't have anything on hand. There's this texture. Look at that. I mean, you can read the writing straight through it. That's a crystal opal. But if I put the black behind it, you can see how nice that is. And even without it, just under normal conditions, it's really nice. So yeah, it's starting to make me change my mind. As you can see, it's not finished yet, and the carving, you could see I went up to the Brown Nova, which is a 600 grit, I think. And that is because I want to work on one thing, and you can see it right there. You can see right here that crack that I was worried about earlier, and the fractures inside the opal, are really significant. So I'm going to have to probably cut that part off and just be left with this end. And it's plenty of crystal to be able to carve a nice shape out of. I might even make it like a proper teardrop shape. It's fairly long. I could even make an oval. I'll have to get the stencils out. I'll get the stencils out and have a play. But this is I can almost not even tell. So this is the front surface. This is the one that I've worked on the most. And I mean, my initial reaction to it was that it almost looks fake. I took a picture for my Instagram. I don't really do Instagram all that well, but every now and then I remember to take a picture. And I chucked this up on Instagram, and it really looks fake. It looks so foily at sometimes, and the pattern itself is incredible. So really nice. The back I haven't worked on as much. The back I chose not to work on as much because that crack kind of dominates on this side and not the other. It gets through here, but it's only a slight dot. Whereas this side I've got a huge chip that I'll have to deal with. And the face it just doesn't face quite as well as the other side. So from front on it does become a little bit translucent, and the player colour seems to disappear a lot from this angle. Whereas it really shows up strong here. Whereas the front one, this just shows up everywhere. It's just every direction you can get. Massive amount of that beautiful blue-green. So yeah, really good. This is a much better result than the previous one, wherever I've put him. I'm not even sure, in a bag somewhere. But once again, this one needs a little bit more work, so I haven't gone all the way through to polishing or anything, so I'm keeping this one wet. But I think the idea is that I'll just cut off to the line where the cracks are emitted, and this is still a nice chunk. I don't know if the cracks will make it fracture, but we'll see. And then I'll just turn this into an oval probably, or a teardrop. It's kind of headed that way already. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I think my next video will be a live stream, and I'm basically just going to go through Opal auctions and show you what I've found on that site. It's an interesting site. I don't know if I'm a huge fan yet, but that's where NN Opals is. So, well, 53 frogs on that site, 53 frogs, where this kind of material came from. He's on there, so that's really the only reason I'm using it, but it's starting to grow on me. I do like it a bit. I mean, it's the eBay of opals, so nothing but opal, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. I think I'll combine a video where I work on both this one, cutting it up into the right shape, as well as the previous one. And I'll probably have to start up another vote going. I reckon I want to work, even though you guys didn't vote for it, I reckon I want to work on this one. So this was number 2. And it just has incredible amount of colour. It's a really thin shell piece, but it's got all the colours. And it's just got a huge play of colour, which I really like. I'm just going to trim it up, polish it up, see what it looks like. I reckon you'll be surprised at how good this one turns out. Or at least I'm hoping so, because I don't see a lot of sand and I don't see a lot of cracks. And we've had 2 in a row now, one with sand, one with cracks. So this one I think is my next go-to. So I'll even just chuck him in that tub of water. He's next on the chopping block. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It's quite a nice piece that we got here. Very happy with it. It's got a little bit more work to do on it, but it's already looking like a beautiful stone. Before I get stuck just staring at it and rotating it around, I better call it quits. So I'll see you in the next video. It should be up pretty soon. There'll be a live stream in between. So if you can catch that, I'll see you then.